We're going to be sharing 12 things that might help you get faster. My name is Sammy J, and I'm training to become the fastest version of myself. I hired an elite sprint coach, Evan Gregory, and I plan to share every ounce of knowledge that I learn along the way. In this video, we're going to be going over my upright sprinting mechanics. Generally, we do not want the toe in front of the knee.
This is acceptable though, within reason. Anything that starts to extend from the knee out in front is not only going to be a very harsh impact on the hamstring and all the lower extremities, but it's also going to be a braking force on the hip, meaning that when this step lands in front of the hip, which you do a good job of getting it back underneath, because every millimeter it gravitates in front of this like hip column right here, we just have to wait a couple clicks in frames until it's actually propelling us forward a little bit.
You're going to want to stay stacked.
You do a really good job of like maintaining the height right here, like not a lot of bending or anything like that. Typically what we're looking for is like the hips, the shoulders, bonus points for like the head, and the impact point in the ground to all be in like a tight, narrow line.
This is what people get wrong doing flies.
A lot of people run flies kind of incorrectly. They accelerate in kind of like a submaximal way, and then they really try and get fast in the middle of the fly zone.
And then this is how to get a fast fly time and what they really mean.
The fastest fly times are going to come from the people that accelerate the most. Really, the fly time is just an observation of like a 60 or a 40 in some cases, or a 30.
And now on to technique. Everything that you pack, you must unpack.
We can see here that the heel packs up really high to the glute right here. We kind of have a saying that anything that you pack in this sport, you have to then unpack. And what I mean by that is typically we're looking for as close to a parallel recovery swing as we can get. It can gravitate a little bit higher than that and be no problem, but just know that like once it starts to curl up really far behind the glute, that as we go to recover forward, that the hip is already flexed out in front. We're just waiting for this to kind of unfurl as well. Typically what you'll have to do to recover the shin in that position is cast it out in front.
Okay, now let's look at the left side and the relationship between packing and unpacking.
And you can see that to a higher degree than the previous stride, we start to gravitate more in front of that hip. You can see that as a result of that, it starts to gravitate even further. Now let's follow it as we go to the following step.
The right side looks better, but why?
So I know it looks just as packed, but now that you're in perfect profile, I see a little bit of space right here. And believe it or not, space as small as that can actually make a huge difference.
This is my root cause analysis of the difference.
Part of it comes from my left glute being a little bit weaker. I do have what I think is piriformis syndrome. So when I do that stretch, you know, legs at 90-90 and I go over and I stretch my glute, it seems to relieve it. Maybe that could be one part of it.
Could be. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely relevant. How much do you squat?
Within the context of injury, we're going to address strength standards.
I can squat 225 for sets of 3.
Okay, 225 for 3. What's your body weight?
165.
Depending on how intense they are and everything like that, you've got sufficient strength, I would say. Problem is probably posture integrity related or coordination. Maybe there's a hip imbalance and maybe one piriformis is set in a position where it's extended.
Here I get Evan's input on my load management strategies for my Achilles tendonitis.
How has your journey with Achilles tendonitis been?
A lot worse, I'd say, over the summer, but I've been doing my best to stay off it. And every time I have a session, I don't spike up and I do my calf raises standing. It's been progressing on the up.
Okay. So pretty much just like as you notice that you start to insert exercises or prehabilitation, rehabilitation work, that it at least provides some relief, that it's not just something that is like so bad that you run out of options or anything like that.
No.
Here we talk about the importance of a routine warm-up.
Regardless of what we get up to, we really don't want to try anything until we're as warmed up as possible. And that'll just provide a bit of consistency. So if we were looking at a set of flies and I saw one that was like 130 and then I saw 121, 120, 123, I would say probably weren't warmed up enough for the first one. Like that's okay, but what happens is you start to get to a competition, you run the race, and you feel like, if I had another opportunity, that would have been the one. All these little things that start to get you in the mindset, in the physical shape for competition and everything like that. But tons of considerations.